Chapter 13. Follow Me. Zion sat in the back of his father's car. The quick movements his father was making Zion giggle immensely. Zion was 4 years old, and his father's thrill ride was exciting, to say the least. Marcus Milgits, however, had something else on his mind entirely as he weaved in and out of traffic. Zion was still giggling when his father turned to look out of the rearview mirror. His panicked, stress-filled face made Zion cry instantly as he continued the race. "Shut up, Zion, trying to drive here," Marcus yelled. The command only further frightened Zion, making his wails even louder in the car. Marcus quickly turned to look out of the car again, and he noticed 3 police cars in hot pursuit behind him. Marcus scoffed as he continued driving fast, refusing to take his eyes from the police. He reluctantly looked forward, and the whole car was jolted around violently as the car ended up on the sidewalk. Marcus proceeded to hit metal trash cans and light poles as he shredded through the walkway. The jolt scared Zion quiet, and suddenly the car came to a violent stop. Marcus plowed into an embedded park bench that instantly totaled the left side of the vehicle. To young Zion, it felt nothing less of an explosion. He knew something was wrong. Smoke and dust filled the car, causing Zion to cough. The shattered windows allowed the car to air out as Zion started to see his father's form. "Daddy," he screamed. "Thought I told you to hush," he speaks softly. "Dad," he screams, "are you okay? My head hurt." "I called your mom. She on her way to get you," Marcus says with a cough. The rest of the harsh air finally cleared the car, revealing to Zion that his father had been impaled by thousands of glass shards. The impact burst his shirt as glass pierced deep into his gut. Zion went for a scared squeak, but was met with his father's usual cold eyes. However, after looking at Zion only slightly, his eyes seemed to warm as he shook his head no to Zion. Marcus started to fumble through his coat, quickly revealing a small cloth bag. "Your mom needs you, Zion," Marcus said as he handed him the little pouch. Zion quickly looked at the pouch, confused and scared, then looked back to his father. "Put me in this. I never really got to travel. You can, though. Take me somewhere out of this messed up place." Zion started to cry loudly as he looked down, but Marcus's cough alerted him. "I ain't mean to be so hard on you either, kid. Love is hard for me," Marcus said softly as he breathed his last breath through his torn lungs. Zion started to scream in anger and sadness as police approached the vehicle, quickly phoning paramedics and pulling Zion from the car seat. He screamed and punched as he was put in the back of a squad car. Zion hated the police from this point on as they drove him home to his mother's after checking him for any injuries. The news disturbed his mother, causing her to cry, holding Zion until nightfall. Zion, more angry and confused than sad, decided to sleep alone, further making Zion reclusive. 3 years passed, and Zion finds himself in his room, the room where he had spent most of his life now. School is dreadful for him, and he could never get his father out of his mind. A new strong metal safe sat in his room, no bigger than a shoebox, calling to him. He put in his custom code and opened the miniature door. Only one item was hanging in the safe. He quickly reached for it and slowly stared at the treasure. His father's ashes moved about the cloth bag slowly as Zion started to tear up. "Put me in this. I never really got to travel. You can, though. Take me somewhere Out of this messed up place, Zion remembered vividly. My eyes broke. What am I supposed to do, Dad? I'm lost and alone, weak, he thought to himself when suddenly a crash was heard outside. Zion, with his father's ashes, ran to the window to witness a man quickly mug another man. The robber ran off quickly as the guy on the ground struggled to rise from the concrete. Zion stared out of the window intensely as his little creative mind prepared to harvest this newfound seed of thuggery. I will get us out of here. Dad, all of us. Whatever it takes. Zion proceeded to open his safe, softly placing his father on the inside. Zion is sitting in the fast-moving bus next to his childhood safe, his hand never leaving the cold metal. Eddie can't be ignored as he chats with everyone in the bus with excitement. Terry is now awake and everyone surrounds Eddie as if he were a celebrity. Eddie was always a social reject, so seeing him like this confused Zion initially as his brain adjusts to being awake. The bus was full of panic and stress before Zion fell asleep, but now everyone is eating out of Eddie's hands. Every word being said is the perfect word to keep the conversation alive, and he even has them laughing from time to time. Zion scoffs at this as he looks to his safe. Zion sits still and quiet as he slowly tilts the safe back and forth, making the contents inside roll about softly, when suddenly the bus hits a large pothole, making everyone jump. Gripping the safe tightly, Zion begins to say something but finds himself in darkness. Zion looks around and tries to move, but he is restrained in the dark, cold room.
We are close to the city of hope, Zion.
What will you do? Zion asks.
Hope could either be a win or a loss. Our infiltration is like a massive game of chess. Us versus the humans. Every move we make will either get us closer to our goal or set us back. I don't feel like defeat, but if I can go here and maybe find some other men of mine, I can take them by force, have them join our ranks. The military will undoubtedly fight back, so we have to be quick.
So you have no plans of helping Terry and the others find refuge?
Maybe I wasn't clear on your role.
Zion is shaken to reality with a start. The bus slams its brakes hard, making Zion drop the safe he holds so dear. Zion quickly scrambles for the safe, but before his hands meet the metal, his crown focuses on two orange lights. He sits up quickly to see the bus has slammed its brakes to avoid running over two orange soldiers. They stand their ground stoically as Zion focuses on them. The soldiers simultaneously point at Zion. Everyone in the bus gasps in terror, everyone except Zion and Eddie. Come on, Zi. Tell him to clear out, man. I know you can, bro, Terry whispered. Zion tries to be strong for his family, but his brain allows him only euphoria. Zion can't do anything to fight the feeling, but he knows Zafson is up to something. Zion sways about, but manages to notice that Eddie's ground has an orange light emitting from it, while green lights emitted from the soldiers' grounds. Terry, Aldrich, his daughter, wife, and Tim all cower behind the bus seats while Eddie remains standing. Zion looks for Eddie's face, but is only met with a quick glance of reptilian eyes. Zion suddenly knows about the horror that is about to take place and tries to voice the word, "Don't," to Eddie, but his head is forced to acknowledge the order to him. Eddie raises his hand in the air, instantly making the orange soldiers violently approach the bus. They bust through the door with ease and proceed to violently kill the bus's passengers. Zion stood there quietly as he and Eddie were spared from the soldiers' wrath. The murders all happened in less than 2 minutes as the struggles proved fruitless. Once complete, the soldier stood in front of Zion and Eddie, covered in dripping blood. The fluid takes over as Zion finds himself in the caverns yet again. However, this time the cavern is brightly lit blue, and Zion is embedded in what looks to be a mechanical tree, the roots of which derive from the ornate tub that is now overflowing with a lake of blue fluid. Zion is strung up in an X shape with his limbs as he is held restrained with wet mechanical tentacles covered in a slimy pus. Zion is so stuck, in fact, that he cannot even ball a fist or even move his head. Suddenly, a familiar giant's voice returns, but this time with a fully lit up face, revealing the nature of these beings. Dark blue skin with reptilian eyes. A unique pattern in the form of a scar is on his forehead as he moves his massive face closer to Zion. His teeth are also that of a vicious great white shark. My family. All dead.
Eddie sensed something in the middle of our conversation and informed me accordingly. Hope was just hit with a massive blast. We must avoid it at all costs. He is taking us northbound. We will build our army there. Your friends and family would have gotten us killed. Eddie knows everything. A power that I lust. He undoubtedly saved us major inconvenience.
Zion can barely keep his head upright as he tries to fight his deep emotions.
I want to thank you, Zion, for without your acceptance of my DNA, my processes would not have allowed us to be in the state we are in now. My crew has finally finished the repairs to my ship, and you are my puppet now. We are one. Zafson is Zion, and Zion is Zafson. Do not fret either. I have grown to like you, so I will allow you to speak to me whenever you choose. I may even let you go on a run one day. You never know. Since I have fully latched to your brain, I can now use and expel my fluid without your brain's protocols being in the way. Now I must master this newly gained power and be the next Omega. With my particle property, I will prove to the other leaders I have the superior power for taking over this planet.
During this speech, Zafson shrinks himself down to be the size of a human. Protruding appendages allow Zion to see Zafson's true form, finally. Zafson starts to chuckle at his triumph, and Zion even lets out a small laugh. Zion opens his eyes to see Eddie is now driving the blood-soaked bus. The bodies must have been thrown out when Zion slipped into his mind. Eddie and Zion make quick eye contact, but Eddie quickly returns his eyes to the road. Zion moves his head slowly to look to his safe. He types in his familiar passcode, and the door swings open. Ignoring the firearm within and a small bank slip with cash, Zion begins to dig deeper into the beat-up safe. Finally, he finds his father's ashes. Without emotion, Zion proceeds to pour the ashes out in front of him at his feet. Every last grain hits the floor. An action that leaves Zion with no remorse. For Zion is now completely tied to Zafson. Zion felt around where the bullet hole entered the ground to reveal it has entirely been repaired. Repaired by the Miets, the extraterrestrial species that led the attack on Earth but a week ago. The Miets, all being the size of bacteria, repaired the bullet hole, allowing the crown to perform as needed for Zafson. The bacteria accepted Zion, and Zion accepted the bacteria. Zafson is Zion, and Zion is Zafson.